On a grassy knoll somewhere in South Philadelphia. Who could it be lurking in the trees? Yes, perhaps the guy with the top defensive box plus minus rating in the entire league. Of course it is. His toes one with the soil upon which he walks. Matisse Thybulle. Zenning in, getting ready as we zoom in for tonight's matchup. The return home to the center for the 76ers as they battle the Oklahoma City Thunder. Seth Curry and company looking to get back on track after a tough previous week. And welcome into 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. I'm Brian Seltzer. Lauren Rosen is on site. That is always a good thing because it means the Sixers are back at home. I don't know, Lauren, how do we start tonight's show? Do we dive right into the matchup or do we discuss the opening montage of photos?
I mean, I think we could do both at once, Seltz. This is a welcome night, of course, to get back to the center where the Sixers continue to be one of the best teams in the league at home. And maybe a part of that is the opportunity to just get in touch with nature a little bit before coming in. We can't underestimate the impact that nature can have on vibes. They're linked forever. And now we know that.
Indeed. Speaking of vibes, seems like potentially good vibes on the Ben Simmons front for tonight's game. That's the news you probably all care about. Us as well. It sounds like, Lauren, things are looking pretty good. We don't know yet, but it seems like they're moving in the right direction.
Well, what we do know is that Doc Rivers said just prior to our stream that Ben looked good at shoot-around today, that he's feeling healthier. So that is, of course, a great sign for this team who really has missed Ben Simmons over these last few games. That's something else Doc Rivers touched on. He said that when teams ask him what it's like to miss Ben Simmons, well, the last 4 games are very clear, not just on the defensive end, but on the offensive end as well. Doc says that Ben creates and gives the opportunity for so many made threes that's an area he felt the team has really suffered in his absence. And whether or not Ben rejoins the lineup tonight, it's an area that I'm sure his teammates will be thrilled to have him back distributing and stirring the drink on the offensive end, as we like to say.
So the 76ers in an ideal spot, I suppose you could say, coming into tonight's game. A position maybe it's better put they wouldn't want to be in. They've lost 4 straight. That's a season high. Tough week last week without Ben. They had games against Steph Curry and the Warriors, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and the Suns, and then Giannis and the Bucks. So the Sixers are looking to get back on track tonight. They start a 3-game homestand against an Oklahoma City team that comes in having lost 13 in a row. Harkening back to the days of 2015 through 17-ish parts of. So that's what the Sixers have tonight in Oklahoma City. And then Atlanta comes in for games on Wednesday and Friday, likely without Trae Young. So you really look, Lauren, at this stretch of the schedule where it's an opportunity, hopefully, for the 76ers to regain full health and then stockpile some wins, find their footing again as they head into the final days of the regular season.
Yeah, no doubt. Celtics 12 games left. All seem relatively winnable. So a good opportunity for the Sixers to get back on track. They are still chasing that number 1 seed, now just a game and a half behind Brooklyn, who holds that 1 seed, but plenty of time still to jockey for positioning before the playoffs come around. And it's a team that's motivated to do exactly that.
Sixers coming off a loss to the Milwaukee Bucks on Saturday, 132-94. But in that game, of course, no Ben Simmons, no Joel Embiid, no Furkan Korkmaz. So that put the Sixers at a disadvantage. The Milwaukee Bucks very eager to capitalize, and capitalize they did. And it's kind of shaken up the top of the Eastern Conference a little bit as we get some of the highlights from that game. One thing, Lauren, that Milwaukee did a terrific job of in both games in that 2-game road series was shoot the 3 ball. They had 18 in the game on Saturday, 20 the game before that, shot nearly 50% for both games, while the 76ers managed just a total of 17 threes, including that running back shot from Shake Milton between the 2 games.
Yes, indeed, Seltz. And you said it, that 3-point productivity from Milwaukee ended up being pretty tough for the Sixers to overcome, especially shooting threes at lower rates themselves when you looked at what we just discussed in the absence of Ben Simmons. Giannis Antetokounmpo. You see him here. He had a couple of solid games showing why he is the league's reigning MVP. And of course, a couple really solid moments from some of the Sixers. Good to see Tobias Harris back in the lineup. But as we mentioned already, especially in that second game without Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, the Sixers are going to struggle in those situations. They did a really good job in the first half up until that 1-point deficit they had it to in the third quarter. They really put up a good fight. So always lessons to be learned, but I'm sure the team happy to get back home and start to see some of their stars get healthy and be able to rejoin the fold.
Yeah, after the game on Saturday, Doc Rivers spoke about the importance of, obviously, health.
I'm not concerned about overall health. I'm just concerned about the amount of games we're missing, and so health-wise, I think we're going to be fine. Mark, I think Ben's going to be fine. Joel's going to be fine. Tobias is, still trying to get healthy. I think Ferk will be fine. But, Seth is back. But when you're naming all those guys, that tells you your problem at the same time. We got to get rhythm with all our guys playing, and we got 12 games left. We get tomorrow off. Hopefully, I don't even know what day it is, but whatever our next game, Monday, hopefully by the time we play, let me put it that way, we got more guys on the floor. We just got to get our guys and our rotations down so we can play them and work on stuff. It's really important for probably one guy, and it's George Hill, so we can put him in his spot, instead of playing him with guys he probably wouldn't play with early and things like that. So there's a lot of little things.
Some really good points made by Doc Rivers after the game on Saturday. George Hill, Lauren, has started the last two games for the 76ers, with Ben Simmons having missed the last four. And you can tell he's trying to find his own groove, get back into a rhythm. But like Doc said, you can only make so much of what we've seen so far, because the way that George Hill was utilized in games against the Bucks, probably if the Sixers are at full strength, not going to look like how he would be used in an ideal situation or set of circumstances for the Sixers.
And George was asked about it himself. I know we're going to hear from him in a little bit, but good to hear that he's not willing to let that be any sort of excuse. He says he's getting to know his teammates on and off the floor, and he's looking forward to making an impact regardless of who he's been out there with, just showing sort of that veteran presence that we all knew George Hill was going to bring. He's still so committed to bringing that veteran, understanding presence to this team, ready for whatever he's able to do. But of course, Doc Rivers raises a really good point. If he expects to run George a little bit more with that second unit, it would be great for him to get some reps with that second unit during this homestand.
Hill 6 points on 2 for 6 shooting, 1 assist, 1 rebound in the game against Milwaukee on Saturday. Listen, he's a guy who's been around the block. He's on pace to reach the postseason for the 12th time in 13 years in the NBA. And in an ideal spot, how the 76ers would be able to take advantage of what he brings to the table. As you see right there, terrific on-ball defender out of the backcourt, creating things, making things happen. Tobias teeing off for 3. And he only returned a week ago when the 76ers took on the Golden State Warriors. And what a first assignment that was for him to have to go up against the likes of Steph Curry. But you can see veteran savvy on full display.
For sure. And the fact he was willing to put his hand up, he said he wanted that defensive assignment in his first game back from 3 months away, just sort of goes to show the type of veteran that George Hill is, and the fact that he's not willing to back from any sort of challenge.
Hill knows he's got personally some more rust to knock off, but in no way, shape, or form is he doubting the caliber of the team that he joined at the trade deadline.
I mean, what gives us confidence is, we've been winning all year long, with guys in and guys out. Maybe not always our main couple guys out, but they've been finding ways to win all season long. So I know once we get healthy, this team can be scary. We have length, we have guys who can get to the basket, we have guys who can shoot. So I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, this last 12 games, we need to figure out how to get in better shape as a group, be better defensively in transition, but at the same time start playing the right way.
Hill, of course, beginning the season with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the team the 76ers made the deal with. And it's been great to see. We've talked about it here on our podcast, how George Hill, in a very short period of time, roughly a month, has already started to have an influence on the 76ers roster through his leadership and mentorship. And one guy in particular who has soaked up a lot of the knowledge that Hill's been dropping, Lauren, has been Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, Tyrese talked about George Hill's influence before he even entered the lineup, saying that he's really been in the young guy's ears, especially in those first couple of weeks when he was getting up to speed with the team but not playing. He was still on the bench every night with the group, traveling, making sure he was becoming as much of a part of the team as he could without actually stepping on the floor. Good to hear that Tyrese is already considering him a major influence. Tyrese, of course, off to a pretty good streak here, scoring in double figures over each of the last 4 games.
Listen, the only question these days, Lauren, is are you on or are you off? Are you riding or are you not a passenger?
Well, I like the segue, Seltz. I'm glad we're rolling out the Maxi Taxi. I'm certainly on board. I don't know about you, but I am ready to ride the Maxi Taxi wherever it is headed, especially if it's headed in the direction it's been going lately for Mr. Tyrese, really expanding his game.
I'm happy for him. I feel good for him. He's a guy who's clearly put in a lot of work. Ready was when his number was called, and now late in the season when the 76ers are trying to nail down rotational plans for the postseason, he's put his flag in the sand and, drawn the line and said, hey, I think I'm worthy of consideration for more minutes.
Well, Doc Rivers was actually asked about that just moments ago. Tyrese certainly at least has played himself into the conversation. And for a guy who wasn't in the rotation all season long, that speaks to just how good he's been lately, how ready he has stayed. Definitely in the conversation when it comes to figuring out who that postseason rotation is going to involve.
Tyrese talking about the stretch that he's been in the midst of on Saturday.
Of course, it's something I work on, working on everything every single day, just trying to get 1% better every day in every aspect of the game, whether it's passing, shooting, defending, getting all the way to the rack, in between game, just try to work on all of those aspects of the game. But, Coach has been on me about getting all the way to the rim. He says I have the ability to do it, and he wants me to do it more, so I just try to go out there and, do what he asked me to do.
Tyrese Maxey with a very strong performance over the last week, as Lauren said, 4 straight double-figure games, averaging just over 12.5 points per game during that stretch and giving the 76ers a nice punch off the bench. Why don't we reset, Lauren, before we go to some inside access with Furkan Korkmaz, your news that you have for us on who could be in, who might not be.
Of course, Seltz. It is a pretty big night for that injury report. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Ben Simmons upgraded to questionable earlier on. He, of course, was dealing with that non-COVID illness. There are a long list of questionable guys. Please bear with me. Joel Embiid, questionable with that right shoulder soreness. Danny Green, questionable left hip recovery. Tobias Harris, questionable right knee recovery. Furkan Korkmaz, questionable right ankle sprain. Paul Reed, questionable due to health and safety protocols. Like I said at the top, Ben Simmons, questionable with that non-COVID illness. So hopefully at least some of those Celts could be bumped up into the probable or available range. So we, of course, will keep you posted while we're live and on Twitter following this show.
For my money, Lauren, I think you get a winning grade for tonight just simply by being able to run through in a very cohesive and coherent fashion that lengthy status report for the 76ers. But yes, it is good news to hear that Ben Simmons could be on track to play.
Yes, indeed. I try Celts. I've had a little bit of practice over these last couple of weeks.
For better or worse, that is true. All right, we're going to hear from Furkan Korkmaz. We hope to see him back in action for the 76ers tonight. But first, let us throw it to our guys in the house who always bring the energy regardless of what's going on with the team. Sixers ENT.
The 7-6 Live Countdown presented presented by Tissot, the official watch for the NBA and your Philadelphia 76ers. I am your main man, Archie, and this young man next to me goes by Christian Crosby. What's going on?
Hey, I am feeling super excited. As you can see, the energy is high. As always, Squad 7-6, Sixers are here, and Sixers basketball is underway. Now, before we start, we always like to remind you guys, make sure you download the official 76ers app. There's wallpapers, there's videos, and there's your favorite podcast with Brian and Lauren. Make sure you tune in to that because you can also redeem your Wendy's Frosty Freeze-Out prize. Archie, talk about it.
Well, Wendy's Frosty Freeze-Out is back, second half of the game. First 2 free throws that the opposing team missed, you guys are getting a free small Frosty. Second 2, a small fry. Third time, they're going to get a medium Frosty and a medium fry. Almost flipped that up a little bit, but you know what it is.
That's right. We are celebrating Pride Night presented by NBC Sports Philadelphia. And the Sixers got a little treat for this night. Are y'all ready? Sixers, what you got? Gotta love the Sixers, Archie.
That's strong line around. You guys can catch the game tonight. OKC, Philadelphia 76ers on NBC Sports Philadelphia, 97.5 The Fanatic. It's going to be a good one. Sit back, relax, grab those snacks, and let's
Go Sixers!
Love that. Thank you, Archie and Christian. It was awesome having Christian as a very special guest on our weekly Mailbag Monday pod that came out earlier today. Also, Lauren, love seeing the 76ers branded Pride Night logo. Big night down at the center tonight, celebrating Pride Night.
Yes, I don't know if you can see it, but I have my 76ers branded Pride pin on tonight. Doc Rivers also spoke just before the game about the importance of nights like tonight. Doc has always been a big advocate for diversity and inclusivity in this league. Tonight, of course, is no different. Doc Rivers said, education, open-mindedness, inclusion. We need to be more tolerant to each other. I think it's important that we have all of these nights, and Pride Night is one of them.
Amen. Well put. A lot of things, Lauren, I miss in life about the times that we're in right now over the last 13 and a half, 14 months. But one of the great things the 76ers did in recent years annually was taking part in the Pride Parade downtown on Locust Street, just east of Broad. Always great representation from the organization in the annual Pride Parade. But great to see that all of this is being celebrated in-house tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Seltz. I'm hoping that soon enough we're going to have those Pride Parade opportunities, just opportunities to gather as a community in general will be welcome, and I'll certainly be there the next time we can do it.
All right, Lauren, I know I just asked you to go through this moments ago, but now that we have official confirmation, can you give us the late breaking news? I think you should have this info in front of you. I don't need to put you on the spot. If you don't have it, I can take it.
I might need it from you, Seltz. It does look like there are some reports saying that Ben Simmons will be available tonight. I will, however, go back through that official injury report that was released at 5:30. And Seltz, you can correct me if I'm wrong about any of these. Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Furkan Korkmaz, Paul Reed, all questionable. Ben Simmons upgraded to available. Did I get it right?
Close. All right, let's go to the Inarena Cam, and then I'll give you the. I know you're on this group text. I know you have this intro somewhere, so I'm not trying to make it seem like Lauren does not have the inside scoop. She's just multitasking between reading reports, quotes that she transcribed earlier today, and other things. So there's Ben Simmons. He is available tonight.
It just came through. I didn't get the notification as quickly as you did. Do you want me to read the thing? I do have it available.
This is your sub beat. I'm not taking that thunder. Go right ahead.
All right, so let's upgrade everything I just said just about. Ben Simmons, Paul Reed, Tobias Harris, Furkan Korkmaz, all available. Joel Embiid remains questionable. Danny Green will be out tonight, and Mike Scott also out due to left soreness. That's the only injury that was on that earlier report. But again, those available are Furkan, Ben, Paul, and Tobias. Joel remains questionable. Updates to come there. Better late than never.
And I'll be honest with you, Lauren, I know that in the immediate short term, a lot of people are focusing on Ben Simmons and Furkan Korkmaz, whether or not they'll play Joel Embiid. But big picture, great to hear that Paul Reed is available, because that would then suggest and indicate that he's cleared health and safety protocols that the NBA has put in place, and the 76ers as well. So that is good news. He missed the past couple games due to health and safety protocols while the Sixers were in Milwaukee. But great to see this guy warming up and getting ready for a game. It's only been 4 games that he's missed. Tough outcomes and all for the 76ers. It feels like he has been absent longer than that. So really looking forward to hopefully seeing Ben Simmons out there for the Sixers tonight. And also, Lauren, always great to see Furkan Korkmaz back in the mix. He's been shooting the ball great since the All-Star break.
Well, he was playing just so well when we talk about Furkan. It was such a shame to see him go out right when he did because of that hot streak that he was on. He was really pouring it in. Hopefully we'll be able to just sort of pluck that momentum out from just over a week ago and keep it going now that the team is back at home. I got to catch up with Furkan earlier this morning. You'll hear at the beginning, I asked him how he's feeling. We can now reveal that he's feeling pretty good and he's going to be available tonight. Take a listen to what Furk had to say this morning.
Hey Furkan, good to see you. First of all, how are you feeling? How's that ankle doing? How's recovery going?
I mean, last couple of days I was getting treatment. I was trying to stay in shape. I get some shots up. I feel good right now. I'm just trying again as soon as possible to be on the court.
What's your mentality heading into these last 12 games of the regular season and preparing for the postseason?
To get the first seed, we know we're gonna win it at all. Doesn't matter if it's for first seed, second seed, but our mentality is just go game by game and win it all. Right now, we know we have the schedule. We are looking at the schedule, and then we are getting ready just to go and get that first seed. Our mentality is just like go and get it.
Burke, last one from me. What have you made of the way that Tyrese has been able to play over the last few games when you guys have been shorthanded? He's finished in double figures 4 games in a row. What's he been like as a rookie this season?
About Tyrese, I would say this, Doc mentioned on one of his interviews, our low-minute group this year, they are doing really good job. I've been here for 4 years. I think they are also hardest working low-minute guys, low-minute groups. So I think the benefits for those games affects Tyrese a good way, because whenever he steps on the court, he looks good. He looks like he's been playing all games. He was on the court all games. I think he knows how to play. Of course, he needs to get more experience, to feel the game more. But whenever he steps on the court, he does something good for the team. He's really helpful for us.
Furkan Korkmaz, thanks so much.
Always great to hear from Furkan Korkmaz. Great to hear the impression that Tyrese Maxey has made on him as well. It's a rookie who's pretty beloved by his teammates, and it's been awesome to see him succeed lately. If you're just joining us, Furkan Korkmaz, who we just heard from, is available tonight, which is great news for the 76ers. Ben Simmons also upgraded to available, plus Tobias Harris and Paul Reed. Joel Embiid remains questionable. Danny Green and Mike Scott are out.
For the Sixers tonight, they're taking on an Oklahoma City Thunder team that has really been struggling as of late. The 76ers have added to their ails over the course of this 13-game losing streak they met a few weeks ago back in OKC when the 76ers were on a road trip. George Hill had been acquired by the team at that point in time, but had yet to make his 76ers debut. Of course, he started the season with OKC and is warming up at the center right now. Looking forward to seeing him perhaps being slotted in, depending on how everything else shakes out with who's in and who's out for the 76ers tonight, in a role that Doc Rivers expects to use him in more regularly and customarily in the postseason. That's something the 76ers have been looking to do. But, hey, the Thunder, Lauren, are 20-40 on the year. They are speeding towards the finish in a way entirely different than the 76ers. They have stashed a bunch of first-round draft picks away for the next 7 years, 18 of them, I believe, during that stretch. Obviously, we have 2 franchises in very different positions right now when you look at the Sixers and the Thunder.
Well, certainly a franchise to watch in the coming seasons. You mentioned all of those draft picks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a tremendously exciting player, someone that I love watching. He, of course, not available tonight. He's out due to plantar fasciitis, as is Lou Dort, another player that's been really fun to watch grow with the Thunder. So tonight could be a little bit depleted on both sides. Like you said, both teams sort of in different places in their progression, but got to respect a lot of the stuff that OKC has been able to do in terms of, like you said, stashing some stuff and picking some good young guys for sure.
76ers beat the Thunder 117-93 in the rescheduled game in OKC 10 days ago, I believe it was, at Chesapeake Energy Arena. 76ers crushed the Thunder on turnovers. They forced 23 and outscored them 32-9 off turnovers, so that was a big part of the game. And now as my left wrist begins to tingle, and wouldn't you know, it is time for the Tissot keys. Oops, got to do a better job for our pals at Tissot right there. Let's give the full reveal. It's time for the keys to the game.
My Tissot PR 100 would agree, Seltz. It is time to reveal the keys to the game.
Lauren is in the leadoff spot, per usual.
Well, Seltz, my key to the game is a pretty simple one. I said, you're the boss. The Sixers have quite an edge tonight, regardless of who is or isn't available against this OKC team. They beat them once pretty handily, shorthanded in that one as well, worth noting. So as long as the Sixers can set the tone, what they like to do, make the team that they are playing pay on defense for 48 minutes, they'll be the boss throughout this one tonight. My key, you're the boss.
Absolutely. I know this might sound a little bit unprofessional and unkind. I was even wondering, was it worth doing a key for tonight's game? The 76ers are the 76ers. As long as they've got most of their guys out there, they should be able to win this one, especially you would expect them to come out with an aggressive, a little bit ticked off mindset. They're going to end swiftly this 4-game losing streak. But hey, one thing that OKC did do well the first time around, they scored 60 points in the paint against the 76ers. So just look at the paint, take care of that area, do everything else well. Sixers should be in good shape tonight. And those are our Tissot keys to the game, presented by the outstanding people at Tissot, who have very generously allowed Lauren and myself to wear stylish, sleek, and affordable timepieces on this live stream throughout the season.
No doubt about it. Seltz, I liked your key to the game. Worth noting the former Sixer Tony Bradley questionable tonight with a left ankle sprain. I'm sure he'll be welcomed back fondly, though, by the fans that are in attendance tonight.
That's right. The franchise, as Joel Embiid dubbed him, he played really well against the 76ers the first time around. 16 points, 14 rebounds, 3 block shots, a big part of OKC's efforts scoring in the paint. So we shall see whether or not he is good to go tonight. What is good to go in your 76ers Podcast Network feeds? New episode of Mailbag Monday. Lauren, we always talk about how it is more favorable for us to do a Mailbag Monday coming off of a winning weekend. We, of course, did not have that for today's episode, but we still managed to have some fun. I thought it was a great I loved it. I loved them all, but I had fun today.
We sure did have a good time today. You can see our special guest, Christian Crosby, joined us for this one. And honestly, who better than to come in and brighten up what was a difficult stretch of a couple days than Christian Crosby, always bringing the positivity. So we appreciated his appearance. Be sure to check out today's Mailbag Monday podcast. You have just over 45 minutes before the game starts. Seems like a perfect window.
Yep. I think it's about 35 minutes. We got some time. Listen to a pod. Heat up a Instameal in the microwave, sit down, get ready to go. 76ers, Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's do it.
I'm all about it, Seltz.
There he is. What doesn't Christian Crosby do? Nothing these days. Get fired up for a game. Rocking some nice Jordan 1s. Guest on a podcast. Musician.
He's doing it all. I got to get my hands on one of those Pride shirts, Seltz. Got to see where they're stashing those.
Okay, you spend the next 45 minutes doing that, and I'm going to go give the kids a bath. So on that note, we'll call it a show.
Perfect. Thanks as always, Seltz.
All righty. Thank you, Coletti, Trevor, Lauren. Great stuff. Per usual, thanks for streaming along with us. To all of you out there, we'll talk to you Wednesday when the 76ers host the Hawks. See ya.